Bucks fans, tell me y'all are nervous. Come on. That first quarter went by 3-0, felt good. Second quarter came by 24-14. Started to feel like, it's going to be one of those games like that Rams game where we just can't cut into that lead. But it didn't occur that way. We ended up pulling off the dub, a very tough and much needed dub against a very, very talented and really dominant team, honestly. But before I go into my reaction, I am Rami B. If you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. I post weekly Buccaneer reaction videos, and this one was a great one. A 38-31 win by our Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the red-hot Indianapolis Colts, who have arguably the best running back in the NFL currently because Derrick Henry's out. But they were a red-hot team that I think won 5 of their last 6 or something like that, and we're on a 3-game win streak. And we went in, it was going to be one of those tough ones. We don't play well on the road, but we pulled it off. We are now 3-3 on the road, so 8-3 on the season, #1 in the division. The Saints lost on Thanksgiving, so I think we have a 2.5 game lead, maybe 3. I don't know the exact standings right now. The Falcons won, but they're way behind us anyway. So the Buccaneers had 359 total yards today, 217 passing and 142 rushing yards. Pretty balanced offense today. The Colts had 392 total yards, so they definitely outgained us by about 40-ish yards, 285 passing and 107 rushing. Brady on the day was not the best. It seemed in the first half he was a little bit off. 25 of 34 for 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He did have a couple more interceptable balls in the first quarter, but in the second half he really got it together and was able to distribute and play well. Fournette, 17 rushes for 100 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. We called him Playoff Lenny, Super Bowl Lenny, Lombardi Lenny, and now he is Lucas Oil Lenny. His last touchdown being on our last drive. It was like a 30-ish, 28, 29-yard run to seal the game, essentially, when all we needed was a field goal. But he took it down, broke a tackle, and took it in and essentially sealed the game and put it out of reach. Rojo had 7 rushes for 37 yards and a touchdown as well. Receiving-wise, Gronk had 7 catches for 123. Fournette had 7 for 31 and a 4th touchdown, so the first receiving touchdown. Godwin 4 for 24, Brady 3 for 23, Evans 3 for 16, and Tyler Johnson 1 for 9. I would have liked to see Brady throw more to our outside receivers. He seemed to only throw to, again, Leonard Fournette. For some reason, he loves throwing the ball to Leonard Fournette when we have Godwins and Evan out there. Tyler Johnson, Scooter was back. Scooter did draw a big defensive pass interference, which was about 40 yards in the fourth quarter, I want to say. Defensively, though, it was one of those weird games where first half we were horrible. The Colts did anything they wanted, but in the second half we really tightened it up, and the turnovers definitely helped. So Wentz went 27 of 44 for 306 yards, 3 touchdowns, which were all in the first half, and then 2 picks in the second half. Jonathan Taylor, 16 for 83 yards and a touchdown, and I think 40-some yards of that came on that second to last drive they had where they tied it up at 31. So prior to that, I think he only had about 40 yards. Wentz also rushed 3 for 21 with the third, and I want to say it was 3rd and 15, where he took it around outside, bounced it out right before the half, which was a very critical play because then it put him up 24-14 when they got down and scored that touchdown. Receiving-wise, Jack Doyle, 6 for 81 and a touchdown. We kept blitzing and kept playing soft coverage. The middle of the field was open, and their tight end was able to just get ball after ball wide open. It was so frustrating to see. And hopefully we, because Devin White was out for a little bit, and, he came back. We lost Dean as well. Hopefully he's back next week. But we're getting ravaged with injuries overall. Ashton Doolin, one of the receivers, I think his first ever career catch was today. 1 for 62 yards and a touchdown, which was in the first half. I think second quarter, he beat Sean Murphy-Bunting deep. Pittman Jr., 4 for 53, and T.Y. Hilton, 4 for 28 and a touchdown. But I want to go to our defensive players because they definitely pulled out dominant performance when there was some adversity. So Shaq Barrett had 2 sacks. He forced a fumble in the third quarter when the Colts were driving down their opening possession in the third quarter. They were driving down to make it 31-14 at the time. Shaq Barrett hit Carson Wentz's arm and recovered his own fumble. Stu had a sack. Mike Edwards had a forced fumble. Antoine Winfield had an interception, which was a beautiful one over Pittman Jr. He was shorter than him, and I was like, oh, he's going to get beat or maybe get some DPI because, we're used to seeing pass interference calls. He jumped over him and mossed him pretty much. So right there's the 2 forced fumbles I mentioned in the interception. Pierre Desir had an interception at the end of the game, which was kind of just a Hail Mary attempt from the 45-yard line. Picked it off. Doesn't really change any impact in the game. Scooter did have a he didn't force a fumble technically. On the punt return, their player called fair catch and then muffed it, and then Scooter recovered it, and then Levante also recovered one. So overall, we had 5 turnovers. We got 5 turnovers off of them, and that was, wonderful thing to see. 5 turnovers, 3 of them fumbles, 2 picks, and I think we had 1 turnover overall. No, 2, sorry. Godwin also fumbled the ball in the first half, and Brady threw that pick. But, you know, usually in games like this where we play solid opponents, once we start turning the ball over, we fall apart. But we had we fumbled, then I think we got a fumble, and then we threw the pick, and then I think we got another fumble. So it was like 2-2 at one point, and then the floodgates opened in the second half. But dominant performance overall. We definitely needed this win, 8-3, to keep up in the NFC race. The Cowboys lost as well, so they're 7-4. They're a full game and a half behind us because of the tiebreaker. The Rams are playing the Packers right now, and from what I remember correctly, we want the Rams to not win the division because they have the tiebreaker over us, but we also want the Packers to lose. So I think in this game we'll root for the Packers because they're a game ahead of us. So we're 8-3. If they win, they'll be 9-3, I want to say, because I don't think they had their bye week yet. So it kind of works out that way. And then same thing, 9-2 right now, the Cardinals, but they're on a bye week. So yeah, it's you know, starting to get a little fuzzy with all the tiebreakers and things like that. But if the Rams win, they'll still be a game behind us, I think, because I think they're 7-4 currently or something like that. I don't know the standings off the top of my head, but I know in the division we are first place. I want to say 2.5 games because the Saints have lost 4 since they beat us. When they beat us, they were a game behind. Then we lost to Washington. They lost that. They might be at 2.5 games behind us. And then the Falcons we play next week in Atlanta. Not really worried about them. Brady owns them. We've been beating them since Brady's come in. We're playing much better. AB, I know they said maybe he was going to be back today. He wasn't, so maybe he'll be back next week. And then hopefully Jamel Dean is back. Carlton Davis should be, you know, sooner than later. I think he's in the, or he can be activated for the 21-day period. But yeah, we'll see how the offense goes. When AB comes, it's definitely going to be very unstoppable. We need to have players healthy, though. I forgot what Jamel Dean's injury was, and, you know, we can't keep losing players in the game as well. I do want to shout out Antoine Winfield because last season he was very promising. Probably should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and then this season he's definitely capitalized off of that and has been getting turnovers and all of those things. So very proud of the team. Was worried. We were 2-3 on the road. We really struggled on the road. Our only 2 wins was against the Eagles and the Patriots. With the Patriots at the time, we're struggling, and now I think they're on a 7-game win streak and are leading their division. They're like 8-4 or something like that. I think they're the 3rd seed in the AFC. But yeah, and the Eagles have gotten hot since then. So we beat 2 of those teams when they weren't really doing their best. Going to the Colts, they were red hot. Looked like it was going to be one of those games, but we did pull it off. Probably the toughest game we have until we face the Bills in 2 weeks. But the Bills are hit or miss. Either they're really good or really bad. And then we play the Saints after that, who seem to have imploded. So not necessarily worried. We can keep building on that lead in the division. And yeah, wonderful performance. The offense did what it had to do. The rush game came alive and really saved us. And the defense, when needed, started getting turnovers and really kept the game in reach for us to pull it out at the end. So yeah, great win. Let's go Bucs Nation. Comment down below what you thought of the game, and let's keep this ball rolling. 2-game win streak after a 2-game losing streak, 8-3. Let's make it 9-3, 10-3, and let's keep stacking them. When the schedule came out in the end of spring, I made my prediction video, and I said we would go 14-3. The games we lost, I figured we would lose to the Rams. Well, I wasn't expecting the Saints and the Cardinals, or not the Cardinals, the Washington football team. So we'll see. Still on pace if we win out. But yeah, wonderful performance. Let's enjoy this weekend. Great holiday win. And let's bring on the Falcons next week. Let's go Tampa Bay and let's go Bucks. And as always, I am out.
Let's go! You a Buccaneer fan? Let me know. Let me know. We about to win this thing at home. Let's go! Buccaneers.